Hey, Todd Hampson here, and in my book, The Nonprofit's Guide to Heaven, I answer a lot of questions about heaven, and here's a common one. Will my wife and I be married in heaven? Or my husband and, if a wife is married to a husband, will my husband and I be married in heaven? Or people that maybe they had a spouse that died and they got remarried. Who am I going to be with in heaven? As a matter of fact, in Matthew 22, the religious leaders tried to trap Jesus by saying that. They used some Old Testament law where the brother, if a woman's husband died, her brother was supposed to be the kinsman redeemer who would marry her to keep the land in the family, and also to make sure they had male descendants to pass the land down to, and all that kind of stuff. Kind of a weird Old Testament phenomena in the Old Testament law there. But anyway, they said, what they gave him a scenario that what if it happened where this woman was married to a guy and he died, then his brother married her, then he died too, then another brother married her. Basically, what if she was married to 4 or 5 guys and then they got to heaven? Whose husband would she be in eternity? Quick side note, a lot of cults and false religions teach that you'll be married forever in heaven. Some of them, Mormonism actually teaches, when it gets down to it, that you will actually start a planet of your own and you will be the god of that planet. It's really polytheism. But anyway, here's what the Bible says. These are from the words of Jesus. He said something totally different. He said, at the resurrection, meaning at the rapture and the resurrection, when we're given our new glorified bodies to go to be with God forever, first in the millennial kingdom and then in the eternal state, he says, people will neither marry nor be given in marriage, but they will be like the angels in heaven. So we will not marry in heaven. And some people wrestle with that a little bit, like, but I love my wife so much and I spent my life with her, that kind of thing. Yeah, but guess what? Your relationship with your wife in heaven is going to be better than it's ever been on earth. Your fellowship with every believer is going to be so pure, so unhindered by sin, and so amazing that your relational tank is going to be completely full all the time. Not to mention, we get to fellowship with Jesus regularly and glorify him. So we can't quite wrap our heads around what that's going to be like. We're not going to miss anything here on earth. We're not going to miss anything about marriage at all. As a matter of fact, there's several verses, one in particular that says nothing we've seen, heard, or can even imagine even comes close to comparing to what God has prepared for us in heaven. So it's almost like before a child reaches puberty, you can tell them what's coming, but they can't really understand it until they get there. And it's the same way. God tells us what heaven's going to be like, but we can't really fully appreciate it until we're there. We just can't. We don't have glorified bodies fit for heaven, but it's gonna be the most amazing thing you've ever experienced by far. There's nothing on earth that we'll miss, and our relationships with all the people we know, including our spouses, will be better than they've ever had, and focused on Christ and living with him and for him for eternity. So anyway, I unpack that and a lot more in my book, The Nonprofit's Guide to Heaven. But that's a very common question about relationships here on earth, particularly marriage. Will I also be married in heaven? So the answer is no. We'll be like the angels. We won't desire that. We won't feel like we're missing anything. We're going to be having the adventure of a lifetime every second in heaven, and it will only get better and better and better throughout eternity as we discover more and more about our amazing God, of whom right now we barely know enough to scratch the surface. So we got a lot to look forward to. But anyway, check out the book, The Nonprofit's Guide to Heaven. And again, it's a book that you can give as a gift to non-believers or friends or family who do know the Lord but are wanting to study heaven. And I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you really are blessed by it. Take care. I'll talk to you soon.